What is going on, guys? It's Rob, aka FlightSimToday, and in today's video we're going to be looking at a new product from FS2Crew called Pushback Express. Essentially, it's a far better pushback service for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So with that said, let's go take a look. So FS2Crew, the Pushback Express version, is currently at version 1.0, as it was only released a few days ago for us here. It is priced at €24.95, but if you own any other program from FS2Crew, you will get a €5 off coupon. But essentially, they are saying that it's the first and the last pushback system you will ever need for the new Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is a pretty bold statement, all things considered. But it will also work with Prepared 3D or FSX if you are still using that, and that is version 1.2.5 of P3D. Now, there's three pushback modes: rudder control, window buttons, and distance. You can steer the tug manually, and it works with any aircraft. You have the ability to push and pull the aircraft to the desired location. You can tow. It has pre-flight events, so essentially it will automatically do your jetway and door control. It doesn't matter what airport you're at, it will work on all those. But all in all, essentially what we're saying here is it's a pushback system, because we all know the current one in Microsoft Flight Simulator is, well, rubbish. But what is cool for a bit more of an immersive aspect is you do get different voice sets: so American, British, Australian, German, French, Spanish, Asian, and they'll add more as we go on. And the German, French, and Spanish also has the native language involved. So if you're German, you can use the German language, French and Spanish and so on. Or it's English with that accent. So Spanish accent, French accent, which is pretty cool, all things. You know, if you're a German-spoken country, you can get a German English accent. They do use the current stock pushback tug, as we'll see in the example, but they do say that as Asobo develops the SDK further, then they will incorporate more models into the product at that point. But they're not expecting it for another full year. So, spoiler alert there, in terms of the SDK and other people waiting for it, we're looking at another year before we get anywhere else with any product in general. But once you've downloaded it, and once you've bought it, more than anything, it does appear like all the others in your orders, in your account. And so your completed orders, obviously I've blanked out the order number here, but you get the idea. You just click on download files and download them. Super simple. Once you've got the product downloaded, there's going to be two things in the folder in the download. One is the actual product that you'll double click and install like any other installer. Super simple. Just next. It installs itself, and there'll be an icon left on your desktop. Then also the manual. Now, as always with FS2Crew products, read the manual. It's only 8 pages, but it will give you an idea of what the product can do, how to set it up correctly, because in the day you are going to need to have, if anything at all, a start and stop pushback button. And this example here, you can set the water rudder toggle button for your start and stop. By default, it's Control and W on the keyboard, because you want to start the pushback and then you want to stop it. Okay, and then it's going to, in the manual, tell you all what the icons do. And from here, you can then, in the settings, change your pilot and the ground crew languages. And then also, I'm going to show you this as we go through it, but it also gives you some examples, so tutorial examples if you're using rudder control, which is what I've chosen to go with on this. Rudder control with push and pull, the Windows buttons, or the distance mode. But in essential here, because I'll run through it with the rudder control, but essentially the Windows buttons are this. So as you move, you have the panel open, and then you basically will use the actual buttons to control it. But I think that's the most awkward of them all, because most people have rudders, so you just use rudders. And then distance mode is like most, you will just set the distance for your pushback, and it will automatically happen. from there. So kind of like some of the other products you've seen where you set the distance, then you go left, right, or straight, and then it will initiate that from there. And obviously, then if you're towing as well, there are limitations. So at the moment with this product, again, I guess they've put on here as of version 1.0 because it may change, but you cannot return to the same parking spot you started from. The tug will only turn at angles of 20 degrees, so you can't do those super tight turns. And obviously, if you do use the FS Lab Airbus in other simulators, we cannot read the position of the parking brake, which again they'll address at 1.1. So if your parking brake on or off, it doesn't know. But I say 8 pages. Read it. Just quick, simple. It's not a difficult product to understand. But with that said, let's get into the sim and see the thing in action. Okay, so here we are in the sim. On the stand, the jetway is connected, the door is open. Now, the first thing you'll see at the moment is the menu. So the Pushback Express menu. And you've got the cog icon. Now, the cog icon is the settings. At the moment, we've got our locked, the main panel are locked. So basically, no matter what we do in the sim, the menu will stay there. You can unlock it and it will disappear, and you'll have to obviously click it back. We can change the audio output, so you can have all audio options going through a headset should you wish, and then have the main sound coming through the sim. You can change again, like we mentioned before, the pilot voices. So the one will be UK and the ground crew. We're in Vienna, so the closest we can get is German English. Moving down to pushback options, here's your main 3 we mentioned earlier. So rudder control, so you use your rudder to make the tug turn left or right. Basically you drive the tug. The windows buttons, so you basically use the main panel to control the tug. And then distance, so this distance is pre-select a left or right turning point based on distance. Okay, such as this, you pick distance, and then you can pick say 80 meters and turn left or turn right. So it's up to you here. The 2 main ones I think people will choose is either rudder control or distance, because the Windows buttons are too awkward. Distance, which means that you don't have to worry about the pushback as much, and you can concentrate on starting the aircraft. And obviously rudder control, you can just turn it as and when you need to from there. So we'll show you the distance, and we'll see how that turns out. I'm going to shorten it because I'm not sure the length going back here. It could completely mess up at this point. In fact, you know what? No, we won't. I'll leave a distance, but you get the idea of the distance. We're going to use rudder control from here. You've got a few other options as well that are available within the menu. This reverse left right tug input. One thing to point out is it's based on, without this checked, so this is unchecked I should say by default, and what that means is that it's from the view of the tug driver. So if you were to rudder left, you would actually start to push back and then tail would go this way and be pointing from left to right, because even though you thought you were going to push back and go left, it's from the view of the driver. So having this tick here just means it actually reverses, so when you are pushing back and you rudder left because you want to go this way, that will happen. Okay, so settings, dead straightforward. This button here toggles the jetway, so when you press it, the jetway will come out and attach, and the next one here is the door, so it toggles the door on and off. You do have this sort of clock symbol over here, which is the pre-flight. Again, it's 30 minutes, if you see there, and it starts ticking down. That's 30 minutes real time. But each click, you can speed this up. Okay, and we can go all the way down. See now, 6 minutes. The jetway is disconnected on its own, and the doors have been closed. Okay, now what we can do is, we can then ask the ramp agent, we'll be ready soon.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead, flight deck. We'll be ready shortly.
Okay, I wait.
Okay. And then also now the doors are closed. So when we spin around, you'll see the aircraft doors are closed. So we can ask them if it's okay to pressurize.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
Confirm all ground checks complete and we're ready to pressurize the hydraulics.
Outside check is completed, all doors and panels are closed, no issues found. You can pressurize the hydraulics anytime now.
Okay. So there we go. Now, you notice we still can't push back because we've got 5 minutes remaining. Again, we can speed this up. So I think we're going to have to wait this last 45 seconds, so obviously this will be cut in the video for you, so you don't have to wait this time. Okay, so the timer has now reached 0, pre-flight's ended, and now the tug has appeared in this window where we can say, okay, you know, tug here, start the pushback, and then stop the pushback. You can do it from this menu. What I'm going to do is though, because most people will not want this showing when they push back. So you notice we unlocked it, it's vanished. And then we can use, by default, it's Control W on here. So as we do this, we'll play it through.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Understood. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Pushing back. All ground equipment is clear, you can start the engines at your discretion. Push is complete, please set the brakes.
Parking brakes set.
Understood. Okay, ground equipment is removed, the pin is out, good engine starts from my side. I'll see you on the left hand side.
Thanks, and you can disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks, have a good flight and we'll see you later.
There you have it. Pushback complete using the rudder control. Again, the distance one, you're going to have to know a distance to get that matched up, so that's why I think having rudder control, you can still do it with the flight deck while starting the engines and looking back. It's a bit more precise, but yeah, so let's see what we think overall then. So overall, I'm going to give FS2Crew's Pushback Express 4 out of 5 stars. And the reason being mainly down to price. At the end of the day, Pushback Express is €24.95. And just ignore the whole €5 coupon for a second. FS2Crew, the Flight Crew A320, which I believe adds far more immersion into the sim, is $19.95. And that's a better overall product. Then you would argue the two different products, yes, but you get more within the Crew than you do in the Pushback. So why is it more? And then you add the €5 off. Were they meant to actually charge $19.95 in the first place? So you're almost giving back to the existing customers for the price you wanted to sell it for anyway. So that was the first thing. And then I think that the Pushback Express would fit so much better in the FlightSimToday A320. If you go back and look at my review of FlightSimToday A320, you'll see in there that I mentioned that the one thing it's missing massively is ground crew. And here it is. So you could, in theory, charge $24.95 for the whole lot. Flight crew and Pushback Express in one, $24.95. And if you wanted to then sell Pushback Express as a standalone product, I think €10, 10 to €14 is a much more realistic price. It's just very much overpriced. It feels as though the guys at FS2Crew have spotted something that's wrong. It's a right mess to try and get the pushback and have to go on those menus and deal with radios. It doesn't work as well. This fixes that, but you're overcharging for fixing that, and it does leave a slightly sour taste in my mouth. If you are someone going from P3D and use P3D now, you've got GSX. It does a better job overall for the ground crew perspective. However, with that said, I'm not taking anything away from the quality of this. FS2Crew produce quality. This is quality, and it's super simple to use. We all know there's a lot of new people coming into this community and into this hobby, and this is easy to pick up and start playing straight away. So it's a hard one for me. 4 out of 5, mainly based around pricing. If they got the pricing correct and incorporated it into the other product, then yeah, A320 gets 5 out of 5. And this here, if they charge 10 to 14 euros, this would get a 5 out of 5. It does do it, but be it the first and last pushback system, not if GSX comes into Microsoft Flight Simulator, not at all. It's not on the same par. So I think 4 out of 5 stars is pretty fair. But what do you think? Have your say. Leave it in the comments below, and please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you soon.